I told the genie that for my third and final wish, I wanted my family to be happy. And I started fading.
I promised my wife that when I returned from the war, we'd sit down and rewatch the movie from our first date. But now she's dying in the hospital, all because she wanted to make popcorn.
First time I was playing a horror game and saw a creepy figure with blank void eyes and pale face. The scaredy cat I am, I clicked Alt F4, took me a while to realize it's a reflection.
It's been almost a decade since I last saw my mother, and she still reminds me every day that if I misbehave again, she'll take my hearing too.
Years ago, they found my identical twin sister dead from a gunshot wound to the head. I miss her. Who would have thought she was suicidal? I tell her boyfriend as I hold his hand and stare at the inscription of my name on her gravestone.
I didn't think anything of it when my little daughter accidentally ripped apart the old doll that looked like my wife. I thought a lot of it the next morning when my wife didn't wake up.
There was a picture of me sleeping in my phone, but I live alone.
My daughter always comes and visits me each time she brings flowers, grabs my hand, and we watch our favorite films together. Every time she comes, I can't help but scream as loud as I can, hoping maybe she'll hear me from in here.
I begin tucking him into bed, and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." I look underneath for his amusement and see him, another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's somebody on my bed."
I never questioned my partner whenever he decided to suddenly caress my thighs on a normal day. That's why as we sat on the sofa, I never questioned today's sudden caressing of my thighs until I saw him eating a bowl of popcorn with one hand while holding it with the other.
I was en route to the stadium when a few teenagers boarded our bus and hijacked it. One angry-looking teenager began searching us for phones. But the look on his face when he saw the bombs I was wearing under my trench coat was priceless.
It's been a month since you decided you want an abortion. What's taking you so long?
The restaurant pays according to weight. I'm waiting until the legal limit.
I was so happy to show off my science experiment at school. I proudly showed off my baby brother and explained that it had taken exactly 437 elastic bands to crush his skull.
My wife begged for my forgiveness after she smothered our newborn in her sleep. Thankfully, she doesn't remember me handing her the pillow while she was sleepwalking, or that I know the baby wasn't mine. As I opened the door, my wife reminded me to get nice to our daughter's new boyfriend. The first thing I saw was the triumphant smirk on the face of the son whose existence I had concealed from my family for 19 years.
I was born blind but was lucky enough to have a loving mother who took care of my every need. Imagine the betrayal I felt when a stitch slipped and a ray of light hit my eye for the first time.
Please, take me instead. I scream, grabbing at the two men who took my child.
Sorry, ma'am. Children only.
As they continue loading up the last lifeboat on the ship.
All my life, my parents have told me not to open the basement door, but I got curious and disobeyed them. What is that glowing ball in the sky, and why does it hurt my eyes?
One night, a snowman popped up into the field behind our house. As the weather got warmer, we finally found out what happened to that missing child.
When the kidnapper made me guess where he kept my daughter, I went for the basement and he said correct, allowing me to see her. But when I found her severed head in there, I learned that every other choice would have been correct as well.
Honey, monsters aren't real.
Little does she know, I'm not her son. My family moved a lot when I was younger. Every time we saw a picture of me on a telephone pole, we would pack up.
My brother and I sat down with the Ouija board, and we place our hands on the planquette. He said, "Cole, are you here with me?" I moved the planquette to yes.
He cried when he saw the acceptance letter from Stanford, as he wished his parents could be here to see it. But he had to do it to come up with that orphan teenager story for the college application.
My baby screamed as the water he was dunked in made his skin burn and peel. That's never happened before, the priest said in horrified.
Hey, I thought you said you were picking me up at 5?
The girl asked over the fine and frustrated.
The driver felt a chill up his spine if he forgot her, who was sitting in the back seat.
F is for you. I screamed as the bullet went through the back of his head. Placing the gun down, I repeated to the others in the room. Remember, no one in this house is allowed to get an F on their report card.
I decided to go on a tour of the IKEA factory. Little did I know that I would find the creature that lays the IKEA meatballs.
After listening to his moans and tears for half an hour, I snapped, "Fine, just do it," and hung up. Today's just one of those days, I sighed, before answering the next call on my suicide hotline. Shift. My first day at the Super IKEA was great, but I couldn't find an exit at night though.
My son accidentally broke the arm off yet another action figure, so I told him, "Your toys can feel pain, so you've got to play gently." I thought the wide-eyed look he gave me showed understanding and remorse, until the next time I checked the toy bin and found every single one of his action figures. Had been pierced with nails and torn to pieces. My wife and kids have started to act weird around me, and I don't know what to do. I just hope the staples hold long enough. I can't have my fresh skin falling off at the dinner table before they can get to know their new daddy. The people of the town said a monster lived in the woods. I frankly found it ridiculous, for I was the only one who lived in the woods, and I have seen no monster. I sat alone in the darkness, waiting for someone to come and fix the elevator, when I heard the guard's voice over the intercom. "Don't worry, someone will be there soon to get you both out." My wife being pregnant without my involvement normally would have made me suspicious. Since we've been alone in this spaceship for a year, it made me afraid. My sister says that Mommy killed her. Mommy says that I don't have a sister. My mom always said that our family couldn't handle peppers. It was only when I felt my teeth falling out that I really understood what she meant. They said he was an artist in plastic surgery. What they didn't say was that his role model was Pablo Picasso. When my child confessed their secret identity as the city's newest caped hero to me, I smiled and assured them that I already knew. I mean, why else would I take out such a large life insurance plan under their name? With his last breath, my father made me promise to never open the cellar door, but now I can hear him in the cellar screaming to be let out.
It's okay, darling. The new babysitter is here to put you to bed.
My mother said as she hugged me and smiled at the young woman behind her. I'm surprised she couldn't feel me shaking as I looked upon the face that I'd been seeing outside my window for weeks.
I flew into Atlanta because my parents were in a bad car accident, and I was told my father was now suffering from amnesia.
"Well, aren't you a hot, young piece of ass?"
He said as I entered the room.
My grandma is a great dancer. Mom says she passed away years ago, but I always see her dancing in the basement.
After her best friend Julia committed the unthinkable, my daughter Sarah started a charity in her honor to combat cyberbullying. While it took a lot of work to finally push Julia over the edge, my husband and I are just so happy that Sarah can add this activity to her college applications.
My wife told me she thinks that she's going mad as she keeps hearing voices in our house. After she committed the unthinkable, my girlfriend helped me remove all the hidden speakers from around the house.
Daddy made me sit in the chair while he tied a string from my tooth to the doorknob. Before he slammed the door, he said, "Tell me where Mommy went, and we can stop doing this."
I decided to kill off a few characters in the book I'm writing. It would definitely spice up my autobiography a little. There's a girl standing outside my window. The only problem is I live on the 7th floor. I can't move, breathe, speak, or hear, and it's so dark all the time. If I knew it would be this lonely, I would have been cremated instead.
We found your daughter.
The officer said as he drew an X on the map, and then he drew another, and another, and another, and another.